Okay, welcome to our video on artwork viewing options and using multiple artboards and documents. So we're going to do a couple things here as far as looking at the different ways that you can view your artwork. The ones that are underneath the view menu, we do have a view menu video coming up in a little bit here. So I'm not going to go over those too much. They are right here. There's zoom in, zoom out, fit artboard in window, fit all in window, and actual size. What that means, I will show you in just one second. The best things to note here, though, are the keyboard shortcuts. So Control or Command, Control on the PC, Command on the Mac, plus, and Control Command minus help you zoom in and out. So instead of having to come up here each time and click on this, I can, now I'm going to my keyboard and pressing the keys, Command plus, 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 and I can zoom in like that. All right. The view fit artboard on window will zoom it out so that artboard is fitting in the window. View all in window will make it so that all of my artboards or scratch space, work, whatever, everything I have in this beyond even the artboard will show. So I do this, and you can see that I actually have two more artboards off to the sides there. And the last one here is actual size, and that will zoom it into, if you look down here, 100%. So that way you can check and see what it would kind of look like as a full view image. So speaking of down here, you can see it says 100% here. There's also all these other ones from 3.13%, which is tiny like that, to 64,000%, which zooms in so close that you can't even tell where you are. And, basically everything in between. All right. You can also, in this drop down here, pick Fit on Screen, and that will again take your artboard and fit it where you can view it there. You also have the option here of jumping around amongst your artboards. So you can see here that I have 4 artboards. One is named Squares, which is this main one here. Another one is named 2 with no name. I can jump over to that one. 3 is over on the right hand side, and 4 orange is this little one here. If I zoom back out, you can see that it is actually laid over this artboard. So you've got the ability to look at your artboards here, and you can see that it has little arrows going back and forth on each side. So when I'm on 4, these are grayed out, the next and last, but the previous and first are not, so I can actually click through them this way as well. All right, and then here in our tools menu, we have the hand tool, which again, if we are zoomed in or zoomed out, a double clicking on the hand tool will bring the artboard back to fit in our window. And then we have the zoom tool here. It's got a little plus sign on it, and when you click somewhere, it will center where you click. So if I click way up here, it's going to center that. And you keep doing it, it'll keep centering it in. If you hold down your Alt key, Option key, maybe on the Mac, you'll see it turns into a minus, and then when I click, it zooms out instead of in. Also, if you have GPU preview turned on, so GPU performance is enabled here, you can get a scrubby zoom out of this, which means I can click and hold and drag. If I pull down and to the right, it zooms in. If I pull up and to the left, it zooms out, and you can see it's actually changing from a minus to a plus on my little magnifying glass there. If that does not work for you, that means that the GPU performance is turned off. It's possible that you don't want to have it on because it might be taking up too much memory and things to be having funny little features like that. So if it is taking up a lot of your processor speed, you can turn it off here or here. You have information in your this is popping up my preferences panel. Remember, which was under Illustrator CC menu on the Mac or the edit menu on the PC, and it's letting me I can turn off the animated zoom here so that I don't have that scrubby zoom going on that zooms in and out. And that would save some of the processor from being too heavy. I don't know if you guys can hear it because I have a fairly decent microphone, but my computer is revving up pretty high now when I'm running this stuff plus recording at the same time. So I could turn off my GPU preview and the computer wouldn't run as hot, but then also I wouldn't be able to show it to you in the video. So I have to weigh the consequences of that, and hopefully it just doesn't lock up my computer. All right, and is that all of them? Oh, scrolling. You can also scroll here over on your sidebar. I'm going to click back on my selection tool. And on my sidebar here, you can see that if I'm zoomed out, I have this scroll bar. You have to be a little bit careful because you can go up too high and not find anything, which makes the double click hand tool or these artboard tools down here great because you can find your way back that way. There are also little arrow keys at the top and bottom for moving it that way, and then there's left and right ones down here, left and right arrows, and a scrubber there as well. All right. Also, you have in your view menu the outline, preview and CPU, overprint preview, and pixel preview. Those will be taken care of in the view menu video, so I'm not going to really go over how they work, but you can see that outline just shows you outlines, and the other ones, you're not going to see too much in what we've got going on here, but that one returns it to the way that it is, and the overprint is not going to show you anything. The pixel preview is for on the web, and we will learn about that more later in the semester. Another great thing that you can do is where is this? There it is, down here at the bottom, new view and edit views. This one's a lot of fun because you can pick a view. So if I am zoomed over here, oops. Oh, you see how that dragged? I don't know if you guys noticed that. Let me see if I can't back up now. So I was like this, and I tried to do that scrubby zoom across here, and what it did was it click and drag instead, and there's a little box that I'm dragging around. That's because I turned off that GPU performance, right? So now it's just a box, and I can pick the size of the box that I want, and it will try to zoom into that size and shape. All right, so, oh, it's not here, and I've turned it off. I think I've turned it off over here. There we go. So I'm turning that back on so that it will do the scrubby zoom again. Okay. So I'm on this view, and I really want to edit here, but I also want to look at my whole document at the same time. So I can come in here with View, New View, and say Orange Square, and say OK. And now I can double click on the hand, look at my whole thing, and go, oh yeah, I think I want the orange square to be over here a little bit more, but I need to go back in and edit these corners on it. So I'm going to go to my View menu and go to Orange Square, and it will actually pop into that last place that I had saved. And I can move wherever I want, and then anytime I can come back to that orange square and it'll pop back to that view again. So you can make multiple new views, you can edit your views, you can delete them, that kind of thing. So if you want to really be close up on your document and not having to be using the tools to zoom in and zoom out, you can use these views to jump around more quickly. There is also a navigator panel under Window Navigator, and this panel shows you where you are on your artboard. This red line says, hey, you are in this space on your artboard right now. And if you look, it matches up. You get a little bit of the yellow corner here, a little bit of the blue corner. I can grab that. You'll see as I go inside the red corner, it turns to a hand versus a pointer hand. And I can move that around. So I can actually move around this way. As opposed to using those views, I can say, oh, I want to go back and look at that orange square again. And I can just drag it over. I can change my view here, how far in or out I am zoomed. I think there's a click on it as well. I can zoom in and out clicking, and that little one should be a scrubber. No, that's just moving it. I thought you could scrub this, but maybe not. Anyway, you can look at this and see where you are. Same thing if you're at 30 to 64,000%. You're like, where am I? If you look here, there's a little tiny red dot right there. That's showing where I am in this. So if I can get the hand over it, it almost went on there. I could move it. There it is. And then I could move it around and be like, oh, I want to be over here in the orange, and drag it over there. All right. So that's how you navigate around. Next, we're going to look at the artboards, having multiple artboards here. As you can see, I have 4 artboards. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I go into my artboard tool, I can see all of these artboards. You can see the names of them: Artboard 1, Artboard 2, Orange, Artboard 3. This one's named Squares. I'm not sure why it has that Artboard 1 there, but we can look under our Properties panel. We can check this out. It says here it's named Artboard 1. So I'm going to name it Squares again and hit my Enter key to make sure it saves. Now it says Squares over here. There are artboard options here besides just scaling. If I want to change the height and width on a particular artboard, I can click on it and change that. Maybe I want this one to be exactly 4 inches, and exactly 3 inches in height. So I can change those and then by hitting the tab or enter key, I move that around. If you want them to maintain their height and width, so now I want to make this 6 inches, I could lock them together. And then when I go to change one of them, if I change the 3, it also changes the 4 to an 8 and makes it bigger. Now let's say I want to move this around. I want to move this up a little bit. I start to drag it. You'll see that it's taking my orange square with it. And maybe I don't want that because the orange square was perfectly set up with this other stuff. So what I would need to do then is uncheck this Move Artwork with Artboard. And then I can actually move the artboard independently of the artwork and move it around that way. Just realize that if I want to now move this artboard and move its artwork with it, it is not going to stick on that one either. So I would need to go back and recheck that to make sure that it actually moves that artwork along with it. All right. You can also delete artboards here. You can change them to be landscape artboards or horizontal, vertical. I can make a new artboard. I can pick a preset for it of these sizes that they have. I can go in here and give each artboard its more specific options in here as well. You'll see a lot of these are repeating from over here, but they have a couple more details in here as well. And I can delete it, cancel, say OK, whichever I prefer. And then you can also rearrange them all. Realize that you're not going to want to rearrange them if you have overlapping artboards like this, because what the rearrange does is says, hey, we're going to lay them out this way. We're going to lay them out in this order, however many columns, spacing, move artwork with artboard. So I say OK, and now this big one is not on the orange anymore. So just be aware of that if you have overlapping artboards. But that's basically how you would move all these guys around and play with them in here. They used to have little X's on them themselves, so when I was on there, there would be an X in the corner if I was selected on it, so I could delete it. It looks like with the properties panel, they have now changed that, so if I want to delete this artboard, I do need to come over here and use its little trash can, or see the delete key on my keyboard also works. Just delete it that way. All right. When you're done with that, all you have to do is click on some other tool. If you hit the V key, you'll go to your selection tool and you'll be out of your artboard editing area. You can see that it's still showing this information over here, but we're not actually working with the artboards anymore. It does say no selection, so that's not going to affect anything. It's just the last used properties before we pick something else. As soon as we click on a square or something, it'll switch over to theirs. The other thing that we would look at here are documents. Oh, I seem to be out of stuff on the pages here. Perhaps I need to check on that. I will go over documents, even though it's not listed here in the PDF. Multiple documents. If we move those around, I guess I should double check this. I'm going to flip through these pages. My apologies. I just want to see if I actually have already mentioned this, and it doesn't look like I have. I'm not seeing it anywhere. So my apologies if this is repeat information. But if you have multiple documents, let's see if I can open something else up here. We'll open up the Yellowstone map again. So I have 2 documents open. I can rearrange these if I want to see them at the same time with this drop-down menu here. So these are only 2, so I would use a 2-up or 2-up vertical or horizontal. You can see the rest of them are grayed out because they don't need those. But a 2-up like this where they're side by side, or a 2-up like this where they're one above the other. And then also I can just go back to having both of them here together. And I believe that I showed you in a previous video about the, where is it? Oh, is it under view? I don't know why I've lost this. I thought it was under window, arrange, oh here. So the floating all windows by themselves like that. You also have the option up here to tile them, which puts them next to each other. In this case, there's only 2, but if there were multiple ones, the tiling would look like this with all the little tiny ones together. Tile all in grids. So the same things here you can do up here under arrange. Cascade puts them one after the other like this. Oops, or you can move them. Yikes, I just made a copy like that. And again, if you want to merge them back together, now I floated them. I put them. They have their own little frame here, and they're floated together. So there's that. And then if I want to put them all back together, I can just click in there, and they will go all back to one. All right. I think that covers it for this chapter. Like I said, the next chapter will be on the File and View menus, explaining them a little bit more thoroughly. So I will see you guys in that video.